Do you feel sorry for Nils Höglander? Speaking of coaching and decision making, is he getting what he deserves? And the same thing might be said for Elias Pettersson.
Yeah. So the poll question is: are you concerned about Nils Höglander? Is that the wording of the poll question?
About his development.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I am concerned. And look, I'm well aware that this guy burst onto the scene last year and was found money for the Canucks and earned with a really good first NHL training camp a top 6 role on that line with Horvat and Pearson, and they essentially stayed together all of last season. But that was last season. And yeah, I mean, we knew from the SHL that this guy has all kinds of skill, a second round pick for a reason. But this is the NHL, and there does have to be a bottom line. And to go 8 games now without a point, no goals and just 1 assist in his last 15. He's gone 20 now without scoring. He scored his last goal on January 1st. It is March 1st today, and he has 1 goal in his last 36 hockey games. He's waiver exempt. He's still on an entry-level deal. I do wonder, could he benefit from a few games as a top-end guy in Abbotsford? You moved your farm team across the continent. There's no shame in sending a 21-year-old to the minors at some point. So many Canucks have bypassed the American Hockey League, but you have a soon-to-be 23-year-old Jack Rathbone who has spent the bulk of this season developing in the minors. I just wonder why you couldn't and wouldn't send Höglander to the farm to rediscover his offense a little bit. And I understand that he's got positive possession numbers. And the team has been outscored by 2 with him on the ice at even. So, it's not a massive drain, but that sort of flame that he played with last year, the fire, I see it sporadically, but I don't see it as regularly. I do wonder, though, I mentioned Horvat and Pearson as his regular line mates last year. I'd go back to that at some point here. I'd load up Lotto Line, and then I'd put Höglander with Horvat and Pearson. I don't think Bo is given an awful lot right now. Maybe they could rediscover the form that they had last season.
Mm-hmm.
So
good idea.
Before you send them to Abbotsford, maybe. But they're at home for most of the month of March here. Even if it was a couple of games, he's waiver exempt. There's nothing that would stop them. And where are the benefits of having your farm team in your backyard? So something's got to give. It's the NHL. There does have to be a bottom line, and there isn't. And that chance that he had at 1-0 last night, I'm not saying it would have turned the game, but maybe it settles the Canucks down. Maybe it gets them into the game. Whatever the case, he's had a lot of those opportunities, and there's just zero finish. And I don't know how long the leash can be at the National Hockey League level. He's a young player. Lots of guys play in the American Hockey League. I just don't think it would be this massive slap in his face if he had to take a step back and play a few games in the AHL at some point.
Podkolzin, Lamico, and Garland then is your third line? I'd be curious.
Here's the thing. Jeff's right. He blows the zone on Myers, which leads to that next one. And then he's demoted to the 4th line, which is shocking just because Bruce had the wherewithal to break up the Motto line or the Lama line, whatever you want to call it. But Mott gets the Battlefield promotion. And so when he's talking about Höglander to Abbey, you're playing 4th line left wing. You are close to Abbey. There's not many because we're not. Would you see a Phil DiGiuseppe in for a healthy scratch Nils Höglander? Is that an actual option that you would consider on Thursday?
Lockwood chance. Sheldon Dries was just named the AHL Player of the Month. There's
right. I
think
for this road trip, DiGiuseppe's out there with them on the road. Höglander's been a healthy scratch once. Again, there's nothing there in his game right now. It's Jason Dickinson. I'm sorry he got hurt, but they're not going to miss him because he wasn't bringing an awful lot. The next guy on that list right here, right now, and this isn't me writing Nils Höglander off for all time. It's just that in the here and now, as this team is pushing for a playoff chase, he can't be making the defensive miscues that the coach continually points to while also delivering nothing in the way of offense. So if it was for a night and they sat him down again and DiGiuseppe gets in there, I'd be okay with that. But you're right. Sheldon Dries, the AHL Player of the Month for the month of February. Now, he's one of those guys. He scores at the AHL level. He gets promoted. He's a 4th line guy in the NHL, and it's not as easy to sort of put his wares on display in that role. But again, if the Canucks fall out of the playoff mix here, or they decide that they're going to punt and start to trade some players, like they've got some guys that have had nice seasons down in Abbotsford that probably deserve a bit of a look here and have earned the opportunity. And DiGiuseppe's one of them. And remember, he got called up earlier and then was put right into COVID protocol and never did get into the lineup. So he has yet to play for the Vancouver Canucks this season. And I do wonder if he'll get this opportunity at some point here on the road trip.
He does seem to have some bad luck, though, too, in terms of the costliness of his mistakes, like his possession numbers, both his Corsi, his shot percentage, his shot share as well. For Höglander, he's like 6th, 7th on the team, but then his goal share drops to 11th on the team. So it seems that when he does allow shots, they are more likely to go in than some of his teammates has been. One of the
right, he's running with a 1% shooting percentage in that stretch of 36 games where he has one goal. Like, you know, the numbers suggest that one of these is going to go in for him at some point. But it's interesting too when you look beyond the possession numbers. Like last year, he drew a ton of penalties. That statistic is down this year. His takeaways are down. I just don't think that he's hounding the puck as much this year as he did last year. There are still nights where you notice him and it looks like he's working hard, but is he working smart? Is his work leading to anything productive? And it's pretty hard right now to draw that straight line from the effort that he's expending to, you know, good things happening for him and the hockey club.
As we talked about yesterday, it seems like Bruce Boudreau draws a distinction between the league that was played in last year and the one that was played in this year.